Coach.
How we doing?
Scottie Montgomery.
How things go today, Coach?
Great detail, great focus practice. We needed that. It also gave us the ability to get our legs back a little bit before we go into our first two-a-day session tomorrow.
How's the offense competed with the defense? You mentioned last week the defense making a late week surge.
Yeah, well, yesterday we wanted to see our offense come back out and run the football well, and that's exactly what they did. I think our coaches on offense challenged them in the team run department, and then the defense came back and challenged their guys in the third down department. So it's been a little bit of ebb and flow. We got to continue to get better in our front. We got some backs that's making some good plays, running the ball hard. It's been good.
How much is the first week or two about you guys then transitioning into prep of a particular Western Carolina or NC State?
Well, Western Carolina only. But, the thing about us right now is we're finding out who we are as a team. We're starting to create a little bit of an identity for ourselves. Yesterday probably was the first day I started to see people upset about being in practice against each other, going against each other every day. So that identity of toughness and the chip on our shoulder is really starting to show. It comes from a good off season, but we're working really, really hard right now. Got a lot of things to cover before we get to the point of ready to play, but we're in a good spot. We got to continue to hope we can maintain our health and still try to keep the physicality part of practice where it's at now.
You said you were speculating on some injuries maybe on Saturday. That's why you didn't mention them. Anybody who didn't practice today?
Yeah, we had some soft tissue deals that we just found out actually this morning. We weren't supposed to be on the field right now, but we're looking at some weather coming in lately, so we haven't really had a chance to have a staff meeting with Jake and a lot of the other people to make sure we know exactly what they have. But we had a couple of guys that had a few things, and we'll find that out. What's the case with them a little bit later.
Thanks, Coach. What stood out to you about your group?
You know what? The quarterbacks have done a great job this summer of moving forward after the spring, knowledge-wise. They've had a great summer. Phillips doing a great job. Gardner's really picked up the offense. He almost like a guy that's been here all spring, and he wasn't. And then James is getting better every day there, and we're finding the stuff that he can do.
Obviously, you and the coaches have meetings. I'm interested over the summer. Was there a point where you decided as a staff that Phillip was going to be the guy?
Well, prior to Kurt leaving, Phillip was winning that battle in spring. We had not made any announcements, and it made it easy when Kurt decided to leave. But he was on his way to winning the job anyways.
What are some of the qualities that stand out? Coach Mo talks about leadership with him a lot.
You know what? He's got great leadership. He's got a good release. He's accurate. He's a big, strong kid. He's fast. There's not really a negative I can say about him from a quarterback standpoint.
He's also mentioned that this feels like a second chance for him. How hard? Give us a sense. How hard has he worked to try and earn this position for himself?
He's worked his butt off. He's worked as hard as the kid I had last year who got drafted by the Niners. Phillips doing a great job. He's got one more year left right now, and he had a good career early, got a lot of playing time in the Big Ten, and he's ready to come out and prove himself.
Usually in this offense, you see all the depth typically at the receiver spots, but in the backfield is where you guys have a ton of depth. How do you find that balance, make the offense more balanced, knowing that you have all that depth in the backfield?
Yeah, every year if you don't have three backs in this offense, you're in trouble, because at some point you're going to have to use all three of them during the year, and a lot of times you might have to use all three of them in a game. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. You always have to have three backs ready.
Coach McGagan talks about building wide receivers, not inside, not outside guys. How have you challenged Zay Jones moving across from somewhere he's familiar at inside and playing more of an outside role?
Well, everybody wants to play in the NFL, and if you want to play in the NFL, you got to know two positions. So we tell our guys you have to know two positions, whether it's both outsides or whether it's inside and outside. So everybody on our receiver corps is going to know two positions.
I imagine you've watched tape on what East Carolina's done before you came here, knowing your personnel. What's the biggest difference in what the offense has ran previous to you coming in to what it's going to look like when you're running the offense?
I don't know. Some of the games that I've watched, maybe a little bit more screen game, maybe a little bit more downhill type of a run game, play action, deep balls. To the average fan out there, it might look pretty similar. I know what we're going to do. You have to be able to run the ball, and you have to be able to throw the ball, and number one is you got to be able to take care of the ball.
Lastly, where does James Summers fit in ideally?
Well, James Summers is best when he's got the ball in his hands. So he's a quarterback. We're going to figure out however we can do to make sure he gets his touches in the game, because when he's got the ball, he's scary.